The story begins with the MC lost in thought, realizing there's someone in his life he truly adores, someone incredibly special to him. He believes that everyone has someone special in their life. But then he adds, almost dramatically, then what would you do if that special person suddenly became your mom? Yeah, that took a wild turn fast. The narrative shifts to the MC's house, where a cheerful girl greets him good morning and tells him breakfast is ready. Startled, he awkwardly wishes her good morning back. She asks if he wants butter or chocolate on his toast, and whether he'd like some milk too. Then she adds that she's even packed his lunch. Our lad, completely flustered, stares at her in disbelief. Finally, he blurts out that he's a high school student. She doesn't need to worry about him so much, he can handle himself. The girl just smiles and says softly, "What are you talking about?" "I'm your mother." Tatsu freezes, eyes wide. His mother? Since when? He introduces himself as Takuto Niko and the girl, Nadeshiko Haruna. Both are the same age and apparently childhood friends. The story flashes back to their childhood, where they play house. Out of nowhere, Natsu hands him a bowl and declares that she wants to be his mom. Laughing, he says he'd be happy if she were his mom. He thought it was just a silly childhood promise, something kids forget after playtime. But no, this one lasted all the way from elementary school to middle school and now into high school. Natsu-chan still acts like his mom, making his tea, fixing his uniform, and fussing over every little thing. Tatsu grows more and more uneasy, realizing she's treating their old game like real life. Finally, he decides this can't go on. It's dangerous. They're high schoolers now, and if he doesn't end it soon, it'll spiral out of control. His thoughts are interrupted as Natsu-chan gently pats his head, saying his hair is messy and she'll fix it. He blushes furiously as she smooths his hair, stammering that he needs to get to school and rushing out in embarrassment. Natsu just watches him, confused. Later at school, the teacher asks Tatsu-kun to solve a question. When he answers correctly, Natsu claps loudly like a proud parent, and everyone stares. During gym, it's even worse. She films him running with her camera. He nearly dies of embarrassment, realizing this mom act is becoming a serious problem. Seeing him upset, Natsu rushes over, worried, asking if he's okay, if they should go home, or if he needs medicine. Tatsu, holding back frustration, politely says he's fine, but inside he's fuming. After class, at the school rooftop, the two stand alone and Natsu asks softly, "What's wrong? You said you wanted to talk?" Tatsu stays silent for a moment, heart pounding, realizing how awkward and twisted their relationship has become. He knows he has to end it now. Taking a deep breath, he calls her name and says, trembling, "You're not my mom." Natsu blinks, then suddenly hugs him tightly, pressing him against her. Tatsu freezes, blushing hard, completely stunned. She thanks him with a bright smile and says she's happy. Laughing softly, she teases, "I was wondering when your rebellious teenage phase would finally start." The words hit him like a knife. Before he can react, she adds warmly, "It's okay, Mama still loves you, no matter what's in your head." Tatsu's mind spins in panic. He doesn't know whether to run or scream. She looks at him tenderly and says again, "Mama loves you very much." That's the final blow. His vision spins, his knees give out, and Takun collapses, fainting on the spot. Back home, Takuto finds himself lost in thought, remembering his last confession. He wanted Nachin to see him as a man, but she still treats him like a stubborn kid. Frustrated, he wonders what he can possibly do to change that. As he walks into his room, he decides he'll have to confess his feelings again. But then doubt hits. No matter what he does, she'll only see him as her child. Gazing at his reflection, he mutters that maybe he needs to build some muscles. The next morning, he ties his shoelaces and stretches, thinking it's way too early for this. He runs at dawn just to avoid Nachan, hoping to keep his training a secret. But suddenly, a cheerful voice greets him. It's her. She beams, saying they'll run together, and he nearly faints. He stammers, asking why she's even there so early. Nachan laughs, saying that Mom'll join too. When he asks how she found out, she casually admits she overheard it after he bought running clothes. He sighs and vows to shop online next time. Worried she'll catch a cold, he tells her to be careful. She just smiles, promising to make him a delicious breakfast later. As they run, she cheers him on like an overexcited mom, calling out things like, "You got this!" and "Keep your pace steady." Embarrassed, he warns her to look ahead before she falls. She apologizes sweetly and pulls out a thermos, saying she brought hot cocoa. Shocked, he wonders how she even had time to make it. While running, he curses his luck. No matter what he does, she only sees a child. Then an idea strikes. Girls love tall, fast guys. so he suddenly bursts into a sprint, shouting, "This is it!" only to trip and crash face first. Na-chan rushes over, panicking, asking if he's okay. As he lies there, humiliated, he wonders how he even made it to high school. She hands him cocoa and he mumbles, asking when she even made it. Exhausted, he apologizes and asks for a short rest. She nods gently, saying it's fine. But then she lifts his head into her lap and softly massages his hair, telling him to relax. Takuto blushes furiously, stammering, asking what she's doing. She smiles, saying it's just a soft pillow for her child's head. He panics, saying, "What if the neighbors see?" But she laughs, telling him to just breathe. It's fine because they're mother and son. Takuto freezes, sighs deeply, and finally mutters an apology. He admits he only wanted to get stronger. Nachan strokes his hair, smiling warmly, saying it's okay. She'll always support him, no matter how many times he fails. Overwhelmed, his eyes fill with tears. He doesn't even know if he's crying from sadness or gratitude, and he whispers a heartfelt thank you, realizing just how important he is to her. Afterward, they sit down beneath a tree with Takuto lost in thought. But Na-chan appears in front of him, holding out a meatball and telling him to open his mouth. Embarrassed, he quickly says he can feed himself and that she doesn't need to do that. He nervously adds that if anyone sees her, they'll make fun of her, and she won't like it. Na-chan, looking confused, asks what's wrong if a mother feeds her child. Seeing her innocent face, he sighs over his unlucky fate, wishing he could just share food and tease her like a real couple. He wonders why she never looks at him the way he wants her to. Then he tries to calm himself, thinking that at least he's eating a bento made by the girl he likes, even if she doesn't mean it that way. But Na-chan doesn't let him rest. She tells him to chew his food properly 30 times before swallowing. The scene shifts to Takuto bringing home groceries, remembering he told Naichin that next time he'd make lunch for her. Panicking, she asks if there was something wrong with her cooking. He reassures her, saying her food is amazing and she doesn't need to worry. He thanks her for always making lunch for him and smiles shyly, deciding to make something delicious for her too. Na-chan reluctantly agrees, and our lad wonders if she understood what he meant. But what's happening at present isn't what he expected. He ends up cooking lunch right in front of her. Lost in his own romantic daydreams, he believes Na-chan will understand his feelings through the meal. Gathering courage, he starts chopping vegetables when she suddenly moves behind him, gently taking his hands to help him cut. He turns red like a tomato as her hands hold his. Then she leans close and softly whispers, "Look carefully. You're doing great, Takun." Just then, he accidentally cuts his finger. Shocked, he jerks back. But before he can react, Na-chan grabs his hand and, to his utter panic, starts sucking the small cut to stop the bleeding. Completely flustered, he stammers, asking what she's doing. Her voice is steady as she tells him to clean the wound. His, however, is nowhere to be found. He just stands there, red-faced and utterly lost. The scene shifts to Takuto telling himself that today is the day of battle. Today, he's finally going on a date with Na-chan, and he's going to make her see him as a man. But just then, he hears her voice apologizing for making him wait. She rolls up with a shopping cart and cheerfully says, "Let's go." He freezes. Of course, it's only him who thought this was a date. He sighs, wondering how he still hasn't figured her out. Nervously, he says she looks excited, and Na-chan beams, saying, "Isn't it fun? Grocery shopping together." Takuto silently dies inside. Soon they arrive at a packed shopping mall. She grabs his hand and says she'll hold it all day so he doesn't get lost. He wants to cry, wondering if he committed some sin in his past life. He reminds her she was the one who used to get lost as a kid, not him. Na-chan proudly says she can't get lost now. She's a mom. Takuto sighs, muttering that it's her theory. They shop until their cart overflows. When Na-chan says they bought too much, he quietly replies that he didn't buy anything. She just smiles and says, "Isn't it fun doing this together?" They sit to rest and Takuto offers to get her a drink. She calls him a good boy and insists on coming too, saying strangers might scare him. Blushing, he tells her to stay and wait. As he walks off, he grumbles that he has to change this. Otherwise, this outing will turn into another family shopping day. He decides to invite her for coffee, but when he turns back, she's gone. Panic hits, until he spots her returning, holding a lost child. The child's mother thanks her, and Na-chan laughs, saying kids just wander off. But as she watches them leave, realization hits. Tak-kun is missing. She fumbles for her phone. It's dead. Worried, she rushes to the reception desk and urgently asks the clerk for help finding her son. Just then, he appears, stopping her mid-sentence. The clerk smiles awkwardly, saying it's fine, and Na-chan, embarrassed, sits in a corner. Takuto, flustered, asks why she looks so down. Nachin softly says, "Because I left you alone. I can't be a good mom." He quickly denies it, knowing this always happens. Whenever she panics, she reverts to mom mode. Gently, he takes her hand and says, "Then I'll hold your hand all day, so you won't get lost again." Nachan blushes, thanking him, but soon her face grows warm. Concerned, Takuto asks if she's okay, noticing her red cheeks. She quickly smiles. Mama's just happy. Takuto stiffens, sighing internally. If he's ever going to prove he's a man, it's going to be a very long race. The next day at school, Takuto sits with his lunch, lost in thought. He's tried so many times to make Nachin see him as a man, but nothing's working. He sighs, thinking he needs a new plan. Something bold. The next day at school, Takuto sits with his lunch, lost in thought. He's tried so many times to make Nachan see him as a man, but nothing's working. He sighs, thinking he needs a new plan. Something bold. Takuto spots Nachan across the room, deep in her own world. That's unusual. Worried, he calls out to her. Startled, she asks what's wrong, and Takun says he just wanted to ask why she's been acting distant lately. Nachan laughs nervously and says she's fine. She's always like this. Then, without warning, she grabs a napkin and starts wiping his cheek, saying, "What matters most is that Mama cleans your face." Takun blushes, telling her to stop. It hurts. Even so, he can't shake the feeling that something's bothering her. No matter how many times he asks, she dodges the question. Later, standing by a vending machine, he wonders what to do. Just then, a video ad pops up on his phone. Some influencer giving love advice, saying to speak your lover's words back to them. Takuto's eyes light up. Maybe this is it. But then doubt creeps in. What if it fails? What if he looks stupid? Still, he's desperate. Meanwhile, in the hallway, Nachin walks alone, her face troubled. She regrets snapping at him and decides to apologize. Maybe she's finally realizing that he's grown up, that he's no longer a little boy. But she quickly shakes her head, muttering that she has to stay the sweet, caring mama figure. Passing some students, she overhears them complain about their mean moms and how they can't wait to leave home. The words hit her hard. Has she gotten too close to Tak-kun? Her thoughts spin until suddenly a door opens behind her. Tak-kun steps out, smiling. "Found you," he says. Startled, Nachin stammers that she just got there. He walks closer, calm and gentle. "Everything's fine," he says. "But can you follow me to the rooftop again?" Confused, she agrees. Up on the roof, Nachin scolds him. Classes have already started, but he takes a deep breath. "This won't take long," he says. Nervously, she asks what he wants to say. Panic flashes in her eyes. Does he want distance from her? Before she can stop him, Tak-kun says her name. She blurts out, "I always want to be with you." But he continues, saying he knows something's been bothering her. He won't force her to tell him, but he'll always be there to help, because he loves the Nachan who smiles, the girl who makes him smile. For a moment, her eyes go wide, completely speechless. He freezes too, unsure how she took it. Inwardly, he panics, thinking of that love advice video and feeling like a fool. If this goes wrong, he thinks, I'm calling that woman a fraud. Then guilt hits him. Maybe he's just using Nachin's kindness. He silently apologizes, deciding to settle for her being happy again. But then, Nachin suddenly throws her arms around him, thanking him through tears. She admits she was scared he'd tell her not to care for him anymore, that he didn't need her mama role. She says he's grown, confident, independent, and that's why she worried. Tak-kun freezes. He just confessed his love, and she completely misunderstood. Smiling warmly, Nachan says she'll try even harder to be his mama. Takuto can only stare in shock, realizing he's made the exact same mistake all over again. A few days later, at nighttime at Takuto's house, he's in the bathroom showering, thinking about how exhausting the day was. His mind drifts back to the rooftop incident. Ever since that day, Nachin has been strangely cheerful, her motherly affection overflowing more than ever. Things feel completely reversed, and he sighs, realizing he might have made everything worse. As he relaxes in the shower trying to clear his head, the bathroom door suddenly opens. Nachan steps in and says brightly, "Mama's here to help clean your body." Takuto panics and hides under the water, yelling in shock. Nachan tilts her head, confused, saying there's no need to be shy. It's just a bath, not a pool. Flustered, he insists she can't do that anymore. Nachan frowns, reminding him they used to bathe together all the time, asking if he's forgotten. Embarrassed, Takuto mutters that things are different now. They're not kids anymore, and sharing a bath isn't right. But she stubbornly says she promised to help him however she could, from waking him up to putting him to sleep. His heart races as she speaks so casually, like it's the most normal thing in the world. Nachin smiles softly, saying, There's no harm if they bathe together once in a while. And maybe later she can even sing him a bedtime song. Takuto's soul nearly leaves his body. This is a nightmare. She's way too forward and he's terrified he'll lose control. If he lets this continue, she'll never see him as a man. As he panics, he touches his ear, realizing water got in, and Nachin quickly brings an ear cleaner. She gently places his head on her lap, saying, "Don't move, Mama will clean it." Takuto blushes hard, protesting weakly, but she insists. He thinks miserably that his fate is cursed, deciding to just look away and stay calm so she won't notice how flustered he is. As she leans closer, the air thickens. Even Nachin's face turns red. She wonders why her heart's pounding, maybe because she's taking care of him. It feels awkward, confusing, and embarrassing. Then, by mistake, she presses the ear cleaner too deep, causing Takuto to yelp in pain. The scene shifts to the schoolboy's bathroom, where Takuto's friend walks in and asks what he's doing. Takuto, holding a mop, says it's obvious, he's cleaning. His friend Fujikawa laughs and asks why he's doing it after school hours, since no one ever does that. Takuto proudly explains he read online that guys who know how to handle house chores are popular with girls. Fujikawa stares and asks if he's really trusting some random review online. Takuto insists it looked trustworthy. His friend sighs and says cleaning the boy's bathroom won't make him popular with girls. But Takuto grins and says his plan goes beyond that. He shows a pamphlet about a school cleaning competition. His friend can't believe such a thing even exists. Takuto states that he's joining to become the most popular guy and maybe, just maybe, make Nachin fall in love with him. His friend laughs, saying nothing like that will happen, and asks if he's doing all this just for her. Then he admits he's jealous Takuto's childhood friend is so cute. He blushes and explains that Nachan doesn't even see him as a man. Fujikawa sighs, saying, "Exactly." But Takuto swears he'll change that through this competition. Fujikawa wishes him luck as they leave, but suddenly a masked janitor appears, asking if the bathroom has been cleaned. The two freeze. The janitor removes the mask. It's Nachan. She says seriously, "Don't you know there's a cleaning competition coming up?" Takuto nervously replies that he knows, but she's taking it too seriously. Nachan replies, "Of course I am. I can't let people think your mom is any less than perfect." Takuto, flustered and confused, feels his determination ignite. He rushes to the boy's bathroom, now fully fired up to beat Nachan. He scrubs like a man possessed while his friend watches sadly, muttering that this is just depressing. Fujikawa tells Takuto to give up. His opponent is basically a cleaning machine. But Takuto refuses, saying that anyone who quits halfway doesn't deserve Nachin's love. His friend is stunned. He's never seen Takuto so serious. Suddenly, a bucket of soapy water tips over, drenching him completely. Nachan rushes over, telling him to take off his wet clothes before he catches a cold. Fujikawa awkwardly watches as she helps him change. Later, Takuto sits in dry clothes, sighing that the day was a total disaster. Fujikawa comforts him, saying he actually wants to help now. Just then, the door opens. Nachin walks in, asking if he's changed. She goes straight to him, brushes the hair from his forehead, and softly asks if he has a fever. When he nervously asks what she's doing, she tells him not to move, then relaxes with a relieved sigh, saying he's fine. Embarrassed, Takuto mutters that he told her not to act like that in public, but she says she was just worried. Someone suddenly interrupts, asking if he can talk to her privately. Nachan agrees and tells Tak-kun to wait. She'll walk home with him later and make him something warm to eat. Takuto blushes and apologizes to Fujikawa for the awkward moment, hoping he doesn't mind. But as Nachan walks out, Fujikawa glares at him, silently wishing he'd catch the worst fever imaginable, one that burns like the fires of hell. Takuto wonders when exactly they became enemies. In the cleaning competition, they get a crushing win. On Saturday at Takuto's house, he looks nervous upon seeing the parcel. He recalls the day before Fujikawa gave him a guidebook once used by his older brother. His brother told him to throw the books away, but Fujikawa decided to give them to Takuto instead. Shocked, Takuto asks if he's serious. Fujikawa nods, saying it's better to give them to someone who might use them rather than toss them out. He adds that even with those books, his brother never got a girlfriend, but maybe they'll help Takuto somehow. Tak-kun thanks him, thinking this might finally make Nachan fall for him. But at present, as he opens the book, he freezes. It's an adult guidebook. Meanwhile, Fujikawa discovers the truth about the bag. Takuto wonders if this was an accident or a trap. His anxiety spikes when there's a knock at the door. It's Nachin. He worries his prediction came true too soon. Trying to stay calm, he asks why she's there. She replies cheerfully that she wants to clean his room. Alarmed, Takun insists she doesn't need to, but Natchan refuses to listen. Ever since the cleaning competition, she says, she can't resist tidying up everything. Desperate, Takuto grabs his blanket and hides under it along with all the books. When Nachan walks in, she looks confused and asks what he's doing. He panics inside, thinking that if she finds out, she'll hate him. She leans closer, asking if he's okay or has a fever, but he quickly tells her not to shake him. Cornered, he blurts out that he just wants to nap, and then requests for her to tell him a bedtime story, his plan to trigger her motherly side. Nachan blushes and smiles, saying this is the first time he's asked something like that. As she sits beside him and starts telling a story, Takuto thinks this setup is straight out of a mother and son scene. He reassures himself it's fine. It's just a plan, not weakness. Pretending to sleep, he decides to hide the books later. Nachan, seeing him asleep, smiles softly, thinking how peaceful he looks. She feels warm knowing he trusts her to care for him and wonders if that's her motherly love showing. But then she notices his hand and gently holds it. Embarrassed, she pulls back, realizing what she did. Standing up quietly, she plans to clean his room later. But as she moves, a few books slip from under the blanket and fall open. Shocked, she freezes, staring at them. As she flips through them, she realizes they're the kind of magazines adults usually read. Her rent's not due, but her stress level sure is. Suddenly, it all makes sense. Why Takuto had been acting so strangely, trying to stop her from seeing them. Shocked, she can't believe he actually reads this kind of stuff. The thought makes her oddly nervous, like a mother who just discovered her son's hidden stash. Nadeshiko stands there wondering what to do, realizing Takuto isn't a little boy anymore. Just then, he turns in his sleep, snoring loudly, and she freezes in panic. If he wakes up and finds her there, she's doomed. Classic, caught in 4K before she even touched anything. Taking a deep breath, she calms herself, remembering what she's read about how to handle situations like this, with care, patience, and no judgment. As his mother, she decides to act maturely, pretending she never found anything. Still, her eyes wander back to the scattered magazines. Should she leave them there, or put them back under his blanket? That might wake him. Decisions harder than picking a streaming service. While she debates, her eyes accidentally fall on one open page, and she blushes. Before she knows it, she's reading, only to realize what she's doing. She quickly pretends again that nothing happened. Yet curiosity wins. She flips through it again, convincing herself it's for educational reasons, to understand her son better. Sure, and people scroll for research at 2 a.m. too. But deep down, it's clear she's reading for herself. Afterwards, she leaves a note for him. Upon seeing the note, Takuto screams. He then sits in front of Nachan sitting there, telling him gently that she knows he's growing up but feels it's too early for such things. Embarrassed, he drops to his knees, insisting it's all a misunderstanding. The magazines aren't his. A friend gave them to him. He wasn't hiding them. He just didn't want her to see. Ah yes, the classic, it's my friend's defense. Undefeated. Nachan looks at him in disbelief, then sternly says she'll be taking the magazines for now and ends the conversation. Flustered, he argues it's all a mistake, but she picks up the books and walks away, softly apologizing as guilt hits her. Inside, she feels a strange jealousy toward the women in those pages, emotions loading like a laggy Wi-Fi connection. Takuto, meanwhile, is left shaken, as if hit by a shock of electricity. Watching him, Nachan feels confused. Something inside her is changing. But before she can make sense of it, Takuto collapses unconscious, and Nachan doesn't even realize how deeply her own feelings have shifted. The following day begins with the duo walking to school together. Nadeshiko greets him cheerfully, asking if he forgot anything and reminding him he can always depend on his mom. She'd do anything for him. Takuto quickly says everything's fine, trying to hide his nerves. Nachan laughs, telling him not to sound so gloomy, then teasingly asks if he'd like a ride on her back. He stares at her confused, thinking what kind of question that even is. As they walk, he sighs to himself, realizing he managed to fix yesterday's magazine mess, but is still being treated like a kid. He decides that has to change. Growth arcs powered by mild humiliation. Classic. Suddenly, she kneels in front of him, leaning close, and says something softly. Takuto panics, asking what she's doing, only for her to reply that his shoelaces are untied. He snaps, saying he can do it himself and that she could have just told him he's not a little kid. She apologizes, explaining she only helped because he's been so careless lately. As they continue walking, he blames himself. Maybe he really is the reason she still treats him like a child. Determined, he vows to never give her a reason again, but soon he receives his test paper and realizes he's completely screwed. Later, after school, Nachan tutors him, checking his answers and suddenly hugging him tightly when she sees he got one right. Takuto blushes furiously, mumbling that it was just a simple question. She laughs, saying she'll keep praising him because she's his mom and plans to compliment him for 10 minutes for every right answer. He asks why she's in such a good mood. His grades weren't even that good. She smiles, saying she's been waiting for this moment for years. The chance to teach her son and show she can really help him. When he jokingly points out that's a sinister remark, she ignores it and thanks him for making her dream come true by getting bad grades. Takuto can't believe she's actually thanking him for failing. Then she adds that next time, he has to do better, because as his mom, she can't ignore his slipping grades. He promises to work hard. As they study, he remembers his morning vow not to let her treat him like a kid again, yet here he is, giving her another chance. He decides this time he'll prove himself and get a top score. But as Na-chan sits across from him, he can't focus. She looks so cute in her glasses, and he keeps thinking how crazy it is that he's studying with the girl he likes. Hormones, the ultimate productivity killer. His mind drifts and he scolds himself to focus. Just as he regains control, she suddenly pokes him and calls his name loudly, making him yelp in surprise. He forces himself to focus again, thinking this battle isn't over yet. Finally, the big day arrives. Takuto passes with great grades. Na-chan proudly tells him she always believed in him, calling him hardworking. Takuto thanks her, saying his success is all because of her. He feels proud. He resisted every distraction and won, but also realizes he's back to square one. This time, he promises he'll stay strong. Meanwhile, Na-chan notices his serious face, wondering if he's unhappy or just focused on improving. Tears fill her eyes. She once thought she couldn't help him, but now she's glad everything turned out fine. Later, as they walk through the hallway, she gently asks why his grades had dropped so much before. Was something bothering him? Tak-kun hesitates, then blurts out that maybe it's because he keeps thinking about her. She freezes, blushing hard. She's shocked and speechless, wondering what he truly meant. Outside, realizing what he just said, Takuto panics, and in that frantic moment, he slips and falls straight into the school courtyard lake. After classes end on a certain day, Na-chan feels strangely down. Something's off. Tak-kun doesn't walk home with her like usual. He says he has things to do and rushes off, telling her she can go alone. As he runs away, Na-chan calls out that he must come for dinner. But deep down, she wonders, does he not want to walk home with her anymore? He's been acting distant for days. On her way home, she worries that maybe he is hiding something from her. Is this just one of those rebellious phases boys go through? She tries to calm herself, reminding her heart that it's impossible. She trusts her son completely. Trust and denial, her favorite coping combo. The next day, the scene shifts. Nadeshiko secretly follows Tak-kun, watching him closely to figure out why he's been behaving so oddly. She tells herself she's only confirming that he's doing nothing wrong, like one of those TV moms spying on their kids for their own good. Hiding behind a wall, she watches as Tak-kun walks into a fancy store. She blinks in surprise. She never knew he liked such stylish places. Then he enters a women's accessories shop, and Na-chan's confusion deepens. Why is he visiting all these cute shops meant for girls? Still tailing him, she sighs with relief that at least he's not breaking school windows. But her heart sinks again. What if he's buying a gift for someone? Her mind spins with jealousy. Could it be a girl? The thought makes her face turn red with anger and embarrassment, emotions buffering like bad Wi-Fi. Just then, he exits another shop frustrated that he still hasn't found the right thing. Suddenly, Na-chan stomps in front of him, unable to control herself. Furious, she confronts him, accusing him of buying a gift for another girl even after saying he thought about her. Tak-kun freezes, startled. She scolds him about lying, but he pleads for her to calm down and let him explain. Finally, he tells her, the gift is for her birthday. And just like that, she unlocks the instant regret achievement. Na-chan goes silent, realizing her birthday is this Sunday. A wave of relief washes over her. Tak-kun teases her gently, asking if she'd forgotten and why she was so angry in the first place. Embarrassed, she admits she's been feeling lonely lately because he hasn't been around much, so she followed him out of worry. She realizes he's right, she overreacted. Tak-kun apologizes too, saying he shouldn't have kept it a secret and that he still hasn't found the perfect gift. Na-chan smiles softly, telling him not to apologize. He did nothing wrong. Then she apologizes for ruining his surprise, saying she's already happy knowing he was thinking about her. Nothing fixes family drama like mutual guilt and fast food. Giggling, she adds that she'll make it up to him with a steak burger tonight. Takuto gathers courage, blushes, and stammers that she should come with him so he can buy it now. Nachan tilts her head surprised, realizing he wants her to come along. He turns red as a tomato and insists she should join him, like a date. Then he quickly walks off, mumbling that he'll meet her that day. Nachan stands frozen, cheeks burning, wondering if she really just got asked out on a date. HR would have questions, but her heart's not filing them. Finally, her birthday arrives. Ta-kun shows up late wearing a mask, nervous and flustered, apologizing breathlessly for being late. Instead of a date, it turns into a hospital visit. Right after asking Nachan out on a date, Ta-kun suddenly realizes something's wrong, like his body's burning up. Now he's sitting on his bed, sighing in relief. His fever has finally gone down. The doctor said it was nothing serious, just a mild one, not a virus. Perfect. Emotional damage and physical illness, all in one package. Just then a soft voice speaks, telling him that Mom was really worried about him. Ta-kun flinches, blurting out an apology, but when he looks up, it's Nachan, smiling nervously. She says she's just been folding origami cranes to wish for his recovery. 1,000 of them, to be exact. Takuto laughs awkwardly, telling her to relax and talk normally. She insists she is normal. Nachan hands him an apple carved like a duck. He stares, saying it's too cute to eat. Then he notices her blushing face and asks why she's so red. Did she catch his cold? Embarrassed, she rushes out, saying she'll make porridge. Left alone, Takuto panics. Did he upset her? Did she start hating him? He's spiraling faster than a buffering video. Meanwhile, outside the room, the girl is just as confused. Her heart's racing, and she can't even face him properly. Then an idea strikes. Today, she'll take care of him like a mother would. Maybe she'll even read him a bedtime story. But when she remembers the date invitation, she realizes she's not as happy as she thought. Motherly instincts meet romantic confusion. What could go wrong? Later, Ta-kun finishes the porridge and thanks her. Nachan smiles and tells him to eat more to get better faster, then goes to wash the dishes. Watching her, Takuto's thoughts spiral again. He feels she's pulling away. Nervously, he apologizes, saying he's only caused her trouble, especially on her birthday. He couldn't find her a gift, and even dragged her around for nothing. Nachan blushes, but before she can reply, Takuto tells her she can act like his mom as long as she wants. He'll listen to everything she says. Her heart skips. When he adds that even if they went on that date, he wouldn't have been good enough for her, she gasps and insists that's not true. Smiling shyly, she pulls the blanket over him and says he needs rest. His recovery matters most. Taking a deep breath, she says softly that as his mom, this is the best gift she could get. But inside, she knows it isn't. Night falls. Nachan gets ready to leave, asking if he'll be okay. Takuto smiles, saying he's already better thanks to her. She laughs, saying she's happy to take care of him and wouldn't even complain if he got sick sometimes. Then he sighs, guilty again for not giving her a proper birthday present. Nachan waves it off, saying she's already happy. She's his mom after all. That word makes him freeze. As she opens the door to leave, he quickly stops her, telling her to wait. He disappears into his room, then returns holding a small box. Inside is a necklace. Shocked, Nachan asks why. He admits he bought it earlier, wanting to find something even better but couldn't. She smiles sadly, saying her heart's already full. His mother is happy. She thanks him. Ta-kun stammers that he picked it thinking it would suit her. Blushing, she remembers the moment she leaned over him earlier and can barely meet his eyes. Eye contact. Humanity's most dangerous sport. When he asks if she wants anything else, she hesitates, then whispers that yes, she wants him to put it on her. Both turn red as he steps closer, trembling. The air feels heavy as he gently lifts the necklace. Their faces are so close it feels like time stops. Romantic tension measured in Celsius at this point. The next morning, Takuto's fever is gone. Nachan, overjoyed, throws her arms around him, saying she's so glad he's okay. He smiles nervously, silently promising himself not to mess up again. When she shyly tells him he can lean on her, he panics, telling her she's too close and to move a little. But Nachan just laughs softly, whispering that it's fine. After all, they're mother and son. The scene shifts to shopping day. Nachan, glowing with excitement, tells Ta-kun to hurry up. They've bought this, now it's time for the next shop. Takuto stops her, offering to carry the bags. But Nachan laughs, saying since they're heavy, Mama will handle them. He quickly takes all the shopping bags from her and jokes that his bones aren't made of gifts that'll break. Nachan freezes in surprise, worried, but he assures her it's fine. There's nothing to worry about. She smiles softly, saying she appreciates his concern, but insists that carrying things is a mother's job. Then, after a pause, she suggests splitting the bags equally. Half for her, half for him. Negotiation level. Toddler refusing nap time. Tak-kun refuses and takes them all anyway, proudly saying he can handle it. Inside, he's determined. Today, he'll prove to Nachin that he's a man, that he can take responsibility. From now on, he'll focus on the small things and stop losing ground. Nachan looks at him with concern, asking if everything's okay, if the bags are too heavy. She suggests sharing again, but Takuto blushes and says it's fine. It hasn't even been 5 minutes. Nachan looks a bit hurt and quietly says she understands. Takuto immediately worries he's said something wrong but shakes it off, deciding today will go smoothly no matter what. Famous last words before everything goes wrong. Just then, one of his bags slips and hits the ground. Nachan, lost in her thoughts, unknowingly steps toward the road. Tak-kun grabs her hand and pulls her back just in time. A car rushes past. Heart pounding, he scolds her gently, saying it's dangerous to drift off like that and asks if she's okay. Nachan, startled but safe, thanks him and apologizes. Takuto sighs in relief, realizing he's still holding her hand. Nachan notices too, but pretends not to, picking up one of the bags and saying it's lucky nothing broke. Then she teases softly that it's dangerous outside, so he should hold Mama's hand. Takuto almost groans at his fate, thinking maybe this is how things are meant to be, and he should accept it. Still, seeing her smiling makes it all worth it. Nachan herself blushes deeply, her hand still in his. As she returns home, greeting her family cheerfully, her younger sister welcomes her back, raising an eyebrow. She seems unusually happy. She asks if something happened. Flustered, Nadeshiko insists everything's normal, then quickly says she'll go make dinner. Watching her rush off, her sister Haruhana Sakura frowns slightly, realizing she's acting different today, like something has changed and it's making her uneasy. Someone just caught feelings and forgot to log out. As usual, Takuto and Nadeshiko walk home from school. She suddenly asks if he wants to go eat cake with her, since the shop is offering a mother and son discount. Takuto nervously replies that he doesn't think they qualify for that discount, but the idea of cake sounds great, so she should go ahead. Nachan brightens instantly, and the two walk together. He feels quietly happy spending time with her, though the mother and son discount sounds awkward. As they walk, a sudden voice calls from behind. Nachan turns and sees her little sister, Sakura. She sighs, saying she scared her, and asks what Saku-chan's doing here. Sakura grins and says he wanted to surprise her, and that they should all go home together since she has something to tell her. Nachan smiles and agrees, while Takuto politely greets Sakura. But Sakura, who's always protective of his sister, glares back instead. Nachan scolds her for not greeting others properly, but Takuto quickly says it's fine and not to worry. His words are cut mid-sentence as Sakura waves, saying she's heading home and will see them later. Nachan apologizes and guesses Sakura's not in a good mood. She wonders if something's wrong since she's usually nice, calling him Taku-ni. He nods, saying they all used to play together. Nachan hesitantly asks if she should remind her to play nicely with her nephew, but he flusters, saying it's okay, she shouldn't. Deep down, he admits he's liked Nachan since childhood. If Sakura hates him now, there's nothing he can do. He just hopes things can go back to how they were. The scene shifts to a restaurant where Takuto sits nervously across from Sakura, realizing she's the one who invited him. They've been sitting there for a while, and she hasn't said much, only ordering another slice of cake. Watching her, he decides he has to say something. He finally asks why she wanted to meet. Sakura calmly responds by asking how far things have gone between him and her sister. Her bluntness catches him completely off guard. Takuto freezes, stammering as he tries to process the question. Sakura studies his reaction and says she assumed something had already happened. Flustered, he insists it hasn't, and she brings up the necklace he gave Nachan for her birthday. She tells him it didn't feel like a normal gift. It felt more like something a boyfriend would give. Panic sets in as Takuto realizes one wrong word could end badly. He explains that the necklace was only meant as a thank you, since Nachan had always cared for him. Sakura's eyes suddenly fill with tears. Startled, he asks what's wrong, and she whispers that he's a liar who broke his promise. Confused, Takuto asks what promise she means, and the scene flashes back to their childhood. A younger Sakura sits crying, saying she discovered he isn't really her brother, even though she still loves him like one. Nervously, young Takuto tells her that one day he'll marry Nachan, and then he'll officially become her brother. He asked her not to tell anyone and promises to make it real someday. They seal that promise together as children. Back in the present, Sakura tearfully says she remembered that promise, and that her sister has been acting strange lately. She asks if he's proposed yet. When she saw the necklace, she thought he still remembered their vow. Shocked, Takuto finally understands why she seemed to hate him. Quietly, he says he remembers and still sees her as his little sister. Sakura looks up, hurt, and tells him those words mean nothing since she isn't really his sister. He apologizes, but she replies softly that he remembers nothing at all. Tak-kun panics inside. This confrontation is the last thing he expected. Watching her sit there alone, guilt begins to sink in. He approaches and admits he lied, not just about the promise, but about the necklace too. He confesses that even though he and Nachin aren't together, he gave that necklace with real feelings and intends to make those feelings true one day. Sakura slowly reaches out her hand and asks him to promise again. Takuto, stunned, remembers their childhood moment and smiles as he repeats the promise. Their bond softens, and for the first time in years, things feel right between them. He sighs in relief, saying it's good that things are peaceful now. Sakura laughs and tells him she never actually hated him. Shocked, he asks if she's serious since she always acted like she did. She smiles, explaining that she only pretended to keep her distance so she wouldn't interfere. She admits she doubted him, but never truly hated him. Tak-kun smiles, relieved, saying, "At least he's made another promise." Sakura nods, assuring him of her full support from now on. Later that evening, Sakura arrives home, greeted by Naichan, who notices she looks unusually cheerful. Her younger sister welcomes her back with a teasing look, clearly suspicious. When Naichan asks why she's in such a good mood, Sakura casually says she went out for cake with Takuni. Nachan's expression instantly changes, her smile fading as jealousy takes hold. The next day, when she meets Tak-kun, she glares at him with puffed cheeks and narrowed eyes. Confused and nervous, he asks why she's hitting him like that, as she's scaring him. The scene shifts to Takuto telling Sakura about his confession. She's surprised, and he explains that he did confess, but Nachan took it from a parental point of view. Sakura raises an eyebrow and says, if the confession didn't work, why not propose to her directly? He panics, asking if she even knows the law, and nervously admits that he has been struggling with a lot of things, while trying to explore different possibilities. Sakura smiles, saying she understands, and she has a perfect idea. The scene cuts to Nachin sitting in Takuto's house. Confused, he asks about a manga she's holding. Nachin says it's really popular lately, and Sakura told her to read it completely. He freezes. So that's Sakura's plan? Make her fall in love through a romance manga? He recalls denying it, but Sakura told him there's only one other option: propose directly. Terrified, he decided to stick with the first option. Watching Nachin read, he silently hopes it works. She blushes, saying maybe she shouldn't get so absorbed in it. He asks what's wrong, and she admits there are parts she doesn't understand, like something called a kabadon. She wonders what it means when a guy suddenly corners a girl and her heartbeat goes wild. Then, noticing the male character's exposed stomach, she says he might get hurt like that. Takuto, flustered, asks what kind of manga she usually reads. Nachan cheerfully says she grew up watching daytime dramas and reading motherly feel magazines every month. Takuto laughs awkwardly, saying she's committed. Excited, she says she has a delicious dessert recipe and will make it for him right now. He tells her not to bother, but she smiles, saying, "It's fine. You can leave everything to Mama." As she climbs up a shelf looking for a portable stove, Tak-kun mutters about how strict her mental wall is. Suddenly, she slips, and before she can hit the floor, Takuto rushes forward and catches her. He's holding her close, asking if she's okay. Blushing, she stares up at him, heart racing, assuring him she's fine. Just then, another box falls from the shelf, smacking Tak-kun on the head. Romance, one concussion at a time. Nachin gasps and quickly holds her head in her lap. Flustered, Tak-kun insists he's fine, but she smiles sweetly, saying she'll take care of him, just like those motherly feel magazines said. Takuto groans, muttering that those magazines say too much. The scene fades tonight. Nachin sits alone in her room, still reading that Shoujo manga. Step 1. Denial. Step 2. Relatable heroine. When the male lead leans close to the heroine, her thoughts wander to Tak-kun, her cheeks warming. Finally, she gets up and walks to Sakura's room, asking if she's free. Then, shyly, she asks if there's a sequel to that manga, because it seems Nachin has gotten a little too interested in it. And that, dear reader, is how the trap closes. Arriving at a cinema theater, Nachan smiles, saying it's been ages since she last went to a theater. Then asks Tak-kun why he suddenly decided to watch a movie out of nowhere. Nervously, Tak-kun explains that one of his classmates gave him some tickets, so he thought, Why not watch it with her? Free tickets, the most powerful motivation known to mankind. She lights up, teasingly asks which movie he wants to see. He steps forward, points at a horror film, and says, "This one." She freezes in shock, and he awkwardly blurts out, "What, have all your emotions died?" She quickly scolds him, saying such a movie isn't good for his education, and they should watch Creation of Contemporary Iron instead. Takuto groans, saying he doesn't want to spend 2 hours watching iron being processed, and admits the tickets are for the horror movie anyway. He adds softly that he'd feel lonely watching it alone, so it'd be better if she came too. Nachan blushes, then agrees, but insists it's only because she's his guardian. Takuto thanks her shyly. Earlier, Sakura asks him about the suspension bridge effect. He explains it's when people feel love in a critical or emotional moment. Translation: emotional manipulation, but make it scientific. Sakura grins, saying her sister gets terrified of ghosts, and when she's in that emotional state, he'll get his chance. Tak-kun hesitates, saying it feels wrong to use her fear like that. Sakura stands up dramatically, saying, "What? Do you want me to attack both of you when you get home instead?" He sighs, muttering that she always has the weirdest plans. Now, sitting in the theater, Takuto thinks how horror films are so common on dates, and since he knows Na-chan's scared of ghosts, he wonders how she'll react. Suddenly, she screams, loudly. Tak-kun blinks, thinking, nothing even happened yet. Like, is she okay? He glances over and sees her pale, frozen with fear. He worries she might not survive till the end if she keeps watching. Just then, a loud jump scare bursts on screen, making even Takuto flinch. He tells himself he's not scared of ghosts, just the sudden, loud sounds. Heart racing, he suddenly feels something, Naichan holding his hand tightly. He freezes, thinking, wait, did Sakura's crazy plan actually work? Nachan, trembling, looks at him and whispers, "Don't be scared, Mama's here." Takuto stares at her, stunned, as they both hold hands in silence. They end up leaving the theater midway. Outside, Nachan nervously asks if it was right to leave, wondering if the ending was any good. He apologizes, saying he got too nervous and shouldn't have dragged her there. Nachan smiles softly, saying it's fine. She understands, and that if he ever feels scared, it's okay to hug her. Therapy bills could never compete with this emotional chaos. Standing off to the side, she blushes when another couple passes by. The girl says the movie was scary, and she held her boyfriend's hand till the end. Her boyfriend laughs, telling her she looked cute and can hold it anytime she wants. Watching that, he silently curses his luck, trying not to feel jealous. He walks back to Nachan and apologizes again for forcing her to watch a horror movie. She blushes, shyly looking away. Then he suggests they go watch another one, maybe an action or animated film. Nachan smiles faintly, her cheeks pink, and proposes watching the movie again.